Dave Chappelle has established himself as someone who shouldn't be messed with due to his genius jokes, skits that push the boundaries, and his position at the top of comedy with powerful connections. On multiple occasions, he's been able to humiliate fellow comedians, general celebrities, entire communities, and even billion-dollar corporations, and as a result, he's feared by the entire industry. Starting off with his roast of Candace Owens, a very controversial figure in her own right. During the 2020 BLM movement, Candace Owens made this video explaining her thoughts on the situation.
I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America. The Black community is unique from other communities because we are the only community that caters to the bottom denominator of our society. George Floyd was not an amazing person, and as soon as this video hit the internet, I did just basic searches. George Floyd at the time of his arrest was high on fentanyl and methamphetamine, obviously distorted on drugs.
This caused huge outrage, but nobody came for her as hard as Dave Chappelle did.
Candace Owens try to convince white America, don't worry about it, he's a criminal anyway. I don't give a fuck what this did. I don't care what this did. I don't care if he personally kicked Candace Owens in her stinky pussy. I don't know if it stinks, but I imagine it does. Candace Owens, that rotten bitch. She's the worst. I can't think of a worse way to make money. She's the most articulate idiot I've ever seen in my fucking life. She's so articulate, she can tell you how fucking stupid she is precisely.
Then, in March of 2024, Candace went on The Breakfast Club and was asked about the comments Chappelle made about her.
When Chappelle said what he said.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, I'm like, listen, Dave Chappelle, I didn't even think he was actually that funny in that skit. Of all the Chappelle skits that, exist, I didn't think he was that funny. I think he was really angry throughout that skit. But also, it's Dave Chappelle. You know what I mean? It's Dave Chappelle, and he knows my name, and he knows who I am. And I think that you need comedians. It's a protected space, and even if they're making fun of people, as soon as we start killing the jokers, we're no longer living in a society.
Candace, in all fairness, had the foresight to know that you can't go up against the GOAT and win. It's better to just take it on the chin and move on. Kanye West, on the other hand, tried to test his luck, as he always does. Dave and Kanye go way back, with Dave actually knowing the rapper before he made a name for himself. A mutually beneficial friendship was born, with Kanye openly supporting Dave whenever he faced cancellation attempts, and Dave asking Kanye to produce the music for many of his comedy sets and skits to help him gain popularity. However, in November 2022, things would change. When Dave was hosting SNL, Kanye had gone on an anti-Semitic rampage on social media only a few days prior. Dave addressed Kanye's comments live on the show, where he allegedly used a fake script in the SNL rehearsals, and then switched it out last minute for the live show because he knew his actual script would not be allowed to be aired.
Just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. Early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and Jews. It shouldn't be this scary to talk about anything. And I hope they don't take anything away from me. Whoever they are.
It's no surprise that this has since been permanently deleted off the SNL YouTube channel. As mentioned, Kanye was a hot topic at the time, and Dave, through jokes, made it clear he did not agree with what his friend was saying. But within his jokes, he also hinted that there could be some truth to what Kanye was saying. However, Dave also made some jokes at the expense of Kanye, which really seemed to piss him off.
But when he woke up, he went on Drink Champs again. This time, he was on one. He was mad about something. He said, I can say anti-Semitic things, and the Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Adidas dropped immediately. I don't think Kanye is crazy at all. I think he's possibly not well. Kanye said, only millionaires wear chains. They said, what? He said, I'm a billionaire. Billionaires don't wear their money on their body. I tucked my chain and I said, oh, snap. This guy lost $1.5 billion in a day. $1.5 billion in a day. I saw that. I said, put your chain on. Welcome back.
Kanye was not happy at all about Dave making jokes at his own expense, and a month later he went on Alex Jones's InfoWars show. This episode is almost impossible to find on the internet, as Ye made some wild statements, such as saying every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler. And we'll just end the quote here so that this video doesn't get taken down. However, during this interview, Kanye would also let Dave know how he felt about those jokes.
Dave Chappelle is a hack, and he gets a lot of his jokes from Owen Benjamin. Dave Chappelle went on a Jewish platform and said, they dropped that. Dave Chappelle said they dropped that talking about Ye, and he called me Kanye, and I'm supposed to be his friend. Dave Chappelle does not believe in God and does not believe in Jesus. These are the kind of black leaders that the Zionists put in front of us. And meanwhile, we want to knock Herschel Walker, but Herschel Walker changed his life for Christ.
Now it seems the pair have tried to patch up their relationship, but Dave is still making fun of Kanye to this day. A user on Reddit wrote that he recently went to a comedy show this year, where Dave made a joke saying that he recently had dinner with Kanye and Bianca, but said it was the most uncomfortable dinner he's ever attended because Bianca was basically naked. He said it looked like she woke up, put some makeup on, slapped some duct tape on her titties and shoved a cork up her and walked out the door. Ultimately, Dave's chain joke, despite the monologue being deleted, it still broke the internet. On the other hand, Kanye only addressed Dave's comments in InfoWars for 45 seconds. So not only did Kanye's appearance on the show just make him look crazier in general, but anyone who knows about Kanye will know he does not take offense lightly. I mean, this man literally went after the Jews, but he pretty much let Dave's comments slide, only once mentioning them in a deleted InfoWars interview. And keep in mind just how huge Dave's SNL monologue was, with a lot of it just making fun of Kanye. To me, it shows that even Kanye knows better than to go after Dave Chappelle. However, this next person, or in this case a group of people, have refused to learn that Dave should not be messed with is the trans community. Dave and the trans community also go way back. They've had an ongoing feud ever since he came back to the mainstream.
I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that those that they got, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not pussy, but that's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy. You know what I mean? It tastes like pussy, but that's not quite what it is it? It's not blood, that's beet juice.
Since Chappelle's first Netflix special, The Age of Spin, he made jokes about the trans community, and of course this got them all really annoyed. So, in response, he made some more jokes about them in his next special, and the cycle continued.
But I can't say the word. And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigga.
The trans community got more and more annoyed, so in true Dave Chappelle fashion, he made sure to give them a good mention in his last Netflix special, The Closer, released in 2021.
Tonight, Netflix employees walking out of the company's Hollywood office after weeks of internal backlash.
If your satire is punching down, you are being a bully.
Yeah! Employees angered over Netflix's handling of Dave Chappelle's new comedy special, The Closer.
This time, the outrage was official. Netflix employees went on strike in protest of all the trans jokes Dave had been making, with The Closer containing the most trans jokes in a Chappelle special by far. Now this is where Dave separates himself from other celebrities. Usually anyone in Hollywood who gets the woke police after them publishes hundreds of apologies across all their social media platforms in an attempt to avoid cancellation. But Dave is built different. The man has so much influence and such powerful connections from his 30 years in comedy The Netflix stood by him and kept his specials up on their platform despite all the complaints from the trans community and protests from employees. Moreover, to rub salt in the wounds and show just how influential Dave is, a few days after the protests, he presented the 36th annual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction and was quoted saying, "I would like to apologize." Nah, I'm just fucking with y'all. This, along with Dave's genius-level wit and humor, is another reason why he is the most feared comedian. It's because he has so much influence and popularity with the masses that he's almost uncancelable. If the woke police can't bring you down, then there are not many other people who can in 2024. And an honorable mention goes to this guy, who shows that if you try to get physical with Chappelle, you also lose.
Make some noise for hip-hop history.
Dave got tackled to the ground by a man called Isaiah Lee, who said that he was offended by Dave's comments toward the trans community. And Isaiah really did pay for this.
Wait, I gotta see this. He's back there getting stomped. Where did that come from? It was a trans man.
I mean, looking at that photo, I wouldn't even want to look the wrong way at Dave's security. Another celebrity who's had to face their own fair share of physical encounters is Cat Williams. As two top African-American comedians, you may have thought they would have a good relationship and help each other out. But this is not the case, with Dave publicly criticizing Cat after his iconic Club Shay Shay interview. And again, it shows why Dave is feared even among fellow comedians.
Also, well, Dave Chappelle responded to Cat Williams and said he didn't like the fact that he was going at only black comedians.
He only eats the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. And Cat is one of the best haters in the game. Stop. And Cat hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people. And he does it all the time. This one and that one and this one. But anything that you did wrong, you didn't do nothing wrong, I'm gonna bring a the fat guy. Cat did this to me. Cat was talking about that did to other but not about anything that he did to him. If I told my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything and never, ever told on anybody.
I mean, Dave not wrong. I said the same thing. I said something very similar.
Dave went after Cat hard, essentially calling out his integrity, ending the set with, "What part of the game fucks up enough paper? What part of the game is about telling on another?" But has Cat replied since? No, because Cat knows, just like Candace Owens, that going against Dave is a losing battle. And just like Kanye, this is out of character for Cat. Usually he's brave enough to go head-to-head with anyone, but it seems like those who cross paths with Dave have learned not to mess with him. Dave's comments against Cat were controversial, however, with most people supporting what Cat said in the Club Shay Shay interview. In fact, it was so controversial that when Dave voiced these opinions live on stage, DeRay Davis, a much less popular comedian, challenged Dave live on stage.
No, DeRay, you know why? Because Marlon Wayans called me and told me you said what Cat did was good for comedy. No, it's not.
And rap TV.
Listen, I'm 50. No, it's not. No, because he did that.
He shot a lot of lights regardless of what motherfucker. He shot a lot of lights on comedy when shit was boring. Motherfuckers out here bored and the motherfucker, he made it basketball again. It's competitive. Yeah.
But of course, Dave is the GOAT. So without breaking a sweat, he ruthlessly shut this guy and his weak claims down.
No, shut up. Because you know why I disagree? Because I put a special out the same day and it was fine. And this nigga had to come out. I read 3,000 books by the time I was 7 years old. What the fuck are you talking about? Man, we challenging money. Where's the money in that? Where is the money in that?
You dropped the album, he put out a mixtape.
It sounds ridiculous.
No, I sounded. You have to pause about it so I know
been doing comedy for almost 40 years, and I'm only 50 years old. And let me tell you something. I go to niggas' baby christenings. I go to their weddings. I've gone to niggas' funerals. And what part of the game is this? He only eats the niggas. He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. And Cat is one of the best painters in the game.
Ultimately, you can't challenge the GOAT on stage, as you will always lose. Most people already know this, but if you try and test this, you'll find out why Dave has been the king of comedy for over 20 years. The last reason why Dave Chappelle is so feared is because of how he completely destroyed one of the biggest companies in Hollywood. Back when Dave was still filming The Chappelle Show, it was the biggest show on television, with both Season 1 and 2 being massive successes, and bringing in tons of money for Comedy Central, where the show was exclusively being aired. As Season 2 came to an end, they attempted to lock him in with a $50 million contract for a third season.
How I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate, I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I gonna do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it?
But then, before Season 3 was finished, Dave left Hollywood abruptly in pursuit of a normal life in South Africa. At the time, it seemed like madness, but Dave knew that for his own sanity, he had to get out of showbiz and spend more time with his family.
When it was happening,
you really felt like it was over.
I'd never seen these things before. I didn't see anyone else do this and get back up. I didn't see, and the drum beat is, he's crazy, he smokes crack, he's this, he's that. Yeah. It was a wild experience.
All the Hollywood puppet masters were furious. So in response, they came for him full on. Even with Dave being a devout Muslim at the time, they had labeled him as a crack addict and said he was insane. They couldn't believe someone would walk away from all that money and fame. Dave lived a relatively normal life, doing comedy here and there, and spent time being with his family. But almost 20 years later, Dave came back, and what he would do next would cement his name in the history of Hollywood as someone to be feared forever. Once he announced he was back, Netflix moved quickly and offered Dave a $60 million contract to release 3 specials on Netflix, which he accepted. However, due to the contract he had signed back in 2004, Comedy Central still had all the licensing rights for The Chappelle Show, and were still able to stream it, along with Netflix and HBO, without having to pay Dave anything. Understandably, Dave was enraged about this, so he asked Netflix to remove The Chappelle Show from their platform, and they agreed. What Dave did next, however, is one of the greatest moves of the century.
If you are fucking streaming that show, you're fencing stolen goods. They stole that from me. They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, then fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation because the master over there might be nicer? My God, man, I was trapped. You know what, tell you the truth, I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's Show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network niggas, they watching me and they saying, Why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know. I know exactly how that feels.
Dave was doing the unthinkable. He was exposing the industry, but he was not done.
Now it's their turn. This is their first lesson, and I'm honored to give it to them. They're gonna pay me for this show. I called my agent. I said, is there anything I can do about this show? And he said, no. Well, fuck you do then. If you want something done right, I guess you got to do it yourself. So I'm not going to the agents. I'm coming to my real boss. I'm coming to you. I'm begging you. If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you. Please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's show. Do not watch it unless they pay me.
And it worked. Dave regained control of the Chappelle show, got back the licensing rights, and was paid millions in the process.
So first of all, man, congratulations. You're the first guy to beat the system. You're the first guy to get fucked over by the system, go public with it, and then get your money. I've never heard it happen before. I don't think it's ever happened before.
Bro, I still can't wrap my mind around it. But
for possibly the first time in history, an individual managed to stick it to a big billion-dollar company and not only come out alive, but come out with millions more dollars to their name. It truly was a David and Goliath story. Whoever named Dave Chappelle must have had an insight into the GOAT he would become. The sheer amount of influence he has is terrifying. He was literally able to stage a boycott of his own show so impactful that Comedy Central were forced to agree terms with him. This is why Dave is the GOAT. And this is why he's so feared among everyone, celebrities, fellow comedians, and even massive corporations. A fight with Dave Chappelle is almost always a fight you're guaranteed to lose. Now, I hope it is clear that Dave is one of the GOATs. But if you want to know why another comedian is also considered one of the best ever, then click here to watch.